Well, hello and welcome to another movie review from MBE. Today we're going to be talking about 1997's Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, John. Now, this was directed by the very youthful at the time, in the late 90s, Guy Ritchie. I've seen the film maybe over the last 18 months or so. I know you watched it the other day.
Yes.
Just to sort of refresh your memory.
Yes.
But it's a film that's loaded with lots and lots of quotes, lots of patter in there.
Stephen, I have about 30
from
quotes.
The chaps from the East End of London.
And the chaps from the East End of London, Stephen, who seem to share so much in common with the chaps from the East End of Glasgow, where I'm from, you were for a little bit. So immediately there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like there's something with working class Londoners, they just seem to have that similar vibe.
Swagger.
Swagger to Glaswegians. And that just connects me with these characters right away, Stephen. And the characters are absolutely what makes this movie for me. That and obviously the direction of Guy Ritchie. Was this his first movie at the time?
I'm not sure if it was his first, John, but it certainly was the one that I first noticed him in.
Yeah, Stephen, look, for such an up-and-coming, relatively inexperienced director, to handle this cast, obviously they weren't probably, Vinnie Jones aside here, big names I would imagine. I'm sure there's some names in here which were doing something prior to this movie. I admit I'm not the absolute expert when it comes to the late 90s in terms of who was big names and whatnot. I do know Vinnie Jones was though, but for him to bring this sort of eclectic cast together and give us the goodness he gives us right from the get-go is very impressive indeed. I've said it in my notes here, Steve, the actual guideline, the absolute masterful way that he just sequentially introduces all of the main players in this movie. I think there's about 4 or 5 groups. You've got Ed's group, you've got Dog's group, you've got Rory's group, you've got Hatchet Harry's group, and then you've got the Scousers. So there's 5 separate groups in this movie.
Well remembered, John.
Yes, and they're all introduced one after the other. I think we start with Bacon, which is of course Jason Statham. I'm pretty sure that was his first movie. He's sort of hogging stuff, classic sort of cockney, cocksure guy. He's gift of the gab. He's talking about
Boy, yeah,
he's like a Del Boy trotter. Yeah, I don't sell empty boxes. The only people that sell empty boxes are undertakers. Hurry up and get a bargain. He gets chased with the police. I can't recall if it's Ed that's with Bacon at this point.
Well, it might be, yeah. I think you're right, yeah. I thought it was Tom, but I think it might be Ed, actually.
Yeah, because Tom gets introduced next with, what's it, something the Greek, something...
Nick the Bubble,
Nick, don't know where I get Greek from.
No, Bubble and Squeak.
Greek. Yeah, Bubble and Squeak, Nick the Greek, yeah. And obviously, I think it's Dexter Fletcher's character. Soap that gets introduced after that, and then I think we get Hatchet Harry. There's a little tangent.
Hatchet Harry.
So it's just wonderfully handled, Stephen. The first 25 minutes of this movie are just not slowly, just continuously introducing all of the players that are going to be important in this movie. I think we get the Scousers as well. They go off to try and get the guns from, I don't know if it's Sotheby's or something, or it's something like that anyway.
Yeah, they're in a stately home.
Yeah, it's like a stately home. It's an antique pairing of guns. What did you make about the way... Because also we reviewed The Gentleman fairly recently, and that is him returning to this genre. I understand that... what's the other one called? It's completely lost. Snatch, is in between these movies.
Snatch was made a few years after Lock, Stock, But
The Gentleman was like this intro on steroids in terms of the length of time it took in the movie. I think it was the first hour of The Gentleman was introducing the trainer, I think it was, Colin Farrell played, and all of these different characters. Much more condensed in this movie. 25 minutes, he's introduced everybody that has to be introduced. He's shown us all these different personalities. There's amazing dialogue flying all over the place, which I'll get into in a moment. What did you make about that 25 minute period?
I know you've mentioned in the notes something that actually, something later on in the film, probably after the 25 minutes, but it's something you mentioned there, tangents. He does that from the beginning, really, doesn't he? You don't see it, obviously, until all those sort of 5 groups are introduced, but you're wondering where the story's going at this point. They seem like separate stories.
First one's Rory.
If you've seen if this is the first time you're going to see the film, it does feel that way. It does feel like you're watching 5 little different stories, but incredibly, they all combine. They all overlap at some point, and become one. It's really good writing on the writer's part, but to get all those the cast in there, you just to get them all that amount of screen time, it's incredible because it's not a long film. It's not on for long.
2 hours or something.
Is it as long as that? I'm not sure, John.
Around about 2 hours.
It's just incredible to get all these characters doing something in the film, and all meaning something in the film as well. There's not anyone spared.
No.
So
the Scousers.
They're fantastic, but you're right, John. The first 20 minutes of this film is so frantic. You've got the wheeler dealer sort of part of it. You're getting to introduce all these different characters, and then you've got the card game, which was I think it's the first time you see some distortion in the way it's shot and stuff like that after the card game.
Yeah.
But
that was amazing.
It gives you an idea. These guys are kind of wet behind the ears. They're kind of going into a world they're not really sure of. They don't know how. They've got this kind of cocky arrogance about them, or certainly Ed has anyway. He thinks he's going in there to rule the roost and doesn't realise what he's getting himself into.
Yeah, it's Harry, isn't it?
Yeah.
He runs a sort of dodgy poker night or club establishment, I think you'd call it.
Yeah.
And he tries, I think he just gets into it somehow. I can't recall exactly how he does, but he kind of blags his way in. He's got no right being in there. And as you did say, they're wet behind the ears. He's completely not at ease with what is going to happen to him in that actual scene.
No.
Stephen, right from the get-go though as well, the dialogue, I mean, you mentioned it. I says I've got about 30 quotes. I mean, you've got Tom saying, not when the price is 200, it's not, and certainly not when you've got Liberia's deficit and your skyrocket, tighter than a duck's bottom you are, come on, let me feel the fibre of your fabric.
Yeah.
You've got choke a dozen doggies with that, haggling over 100, financing revolutions. The dialogue is absolutely fantastic in this movie, and right from the start, you've got these Cockney guys just ripping it off their tongue with absolute ease.
It's the rhyme and slang, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not simple lines these guys are saying. These are quite elaborate lines and some tongue twisters in there, and I think it speaks volumes from the director. And obviously Guy Ritchie wrote this movie as well.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that's how I said the writer.
Just how good the writing is and just how good these guys are. They've obviously battered this script again and again and again. They've realised it's going to be good, and they're that passionate about it. It's ripping off their tongue. Now, I also don't know how many takes these scenes have had to go through before they've actually got it off, but it seems to me like it's almost Tarantino-esque. You can feel a good... You've seen the likes of Brad Pitt talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You can just sense when a movie's good. These guys must have realised this was absolute gold, and these lines are just fantastic. They set the tone. But as you did say, Stephen, obviously he does get into this Harry's establishment, Atchet Harry, and he's playing poker with him. I think who's the big fat guy that gets... He's his sort of henchman.
It's Lenny McLean, but I can't remember his character's name in it, John. I'm having a mare. I've not done my research clearly here. But he has got a little sort of hidden camera, and he's got a kind of sensor that kind of triggers something in Harry's in his leg or something like that, isn't it? To tell him, to give him a clue, obviously, that it could be a bluff or not, with the cards that have been stacked. But you're right. It's a total sting. It's a setup. This is what I'm talking about. They're going into something they're not. They're out of their depth. They don't know who they're dealing with here. They're dealing with gangsters, and very clever gangsters at that they can set this up in this style. But just when Ed's leaving that club after being, just absolutely conned a dillion, as they say.
Hey, Stephen, he was warned though. I mean, he had his chances to pull out. I think it was like 50,000. Then it went up to 100.
Yeah, this was the arrogance. Just that sort of.
That's what you said. Yeah.
He was so sure that he had them. Clearly didn't. But I love that shot. I love the music as well. I don't know what the music is, John. I'd have to check the soundtrack, but it's a kind of a strange sound, and the way the camera's shot as well. When he's coming out of that club, it's almost it's almost like he's drunk. He's not. He's obviously in shock. I think he throws up a few times. Stephen Collins, I think that's his name. The boxer, the Irish boxer. Yeah. He's one of the bouncers, isn't he? I think that's his name.
It might be.
Pretty sure. I used to wear the tricolour gum guard. I'm sure.
I'll try and find out just now. But I think you're right.
But it's just that sort of distorted camera effect. To give it that kind of feel, you're trying to give the audience that feel of what Ed's feeling, kind of out of sorts, that way where you kind of get lightheaded, and you feel that kind of weird way. That's the kind of effect it has. Not only has he got that burden, of the debt, he's got to get back to that pub, that Hawaiian pub or whatever it is, to explain to his mates what's happened, with their money. And it's not a case of they've just lost their money; they owe money as well.
And they're going to lose digits.
Yeah.
It's Barry the Baptist, Stephen, is the
Barry
name.
the Baptist, yeah.
Yes.
What a name.
Well,
Yeah.
some of the names in this are absolutely fantastic. Barry the Baptist obviously speaks to Ed after outside the club and tells him, look, you have a week. You've got to Sunday. If you don't pay this off, for every day you don't pay or you miss, you're going to lose a digit, and each of your friends are going to lose a digit. So he's hitting it home right away. Look, you're screwed. He knows they're not going to get the money. I think the ultimate plan is for him and obviously Harry to get his father's pub. They want that Hawaiian pub, Sting's pub.
Yeah.
Sting's in this movie, I actually forgot that.
Yeah, he's Ed's dad, yeah.
Yeah, Ed's dad, yeah. I've said in my notes at some point, I think it's round about this point in the actual review, why is he in this movie? That's not what I've says. It's why the F is Sting in the film. Because it baffled me, because he must be friends with Guy Ritchie or something, I don't know. But Stephen, you're right, it's something about the way that whole scene's filmed, it's just the whole scene's filmed, that's the correct word, John. I'm having a bit of a mare there. Thought I'd made a mistake. I've not yet anyway.
I think the effect is having an effect on you.
Yeah, the effects that we're talking about disorientating, Stephen. Yes, I'm getting disorientated in actually speaking about this scene. But it's actually the shots of the cards and whatnot, just the way it's panning onto the faces, the close up, he really gets into the emotion of Harry. He knows he's got him, and the emotion of Ed. And as you did say, just that disorientating effect. It's almost like it's a fish. I think you call it a fisheye camera, but it's following them around and whatnot. Really, really well shot. And again, I says early on in this guideline for this review as well, Stephen, just the washed out effect it's on many of the scenes in this movie. It's almost noir style palette. And there's cinematic specs that have been flung in, and it just adds so much to this movie. I've said aesthetically, I just think it's beautifully shot. The feel of the movie in terms of palette, just the cinematography, everything about it is so good, and it adds something to this movie. I don't know what it is. It's almost like it is a crime noir movie, even though I know it's not. It's just a sort of gangster cockney movie, and he's doing that also because he's a fan of it.
Yeah.
But Stephen, we have spoke about obviously tangents and whatnot. They go off on a brief little tangent to the poshies who are growing cannabis. I've said something different in the notes again. I'll not say what I've said. Obviously, they are. It just highlights that they have a cage, a sort of security thing at the door, and that's going to be important getting into the middle end stage of this movie for what's going to be happening. Plank comes into this point, the little weedy Billy Mitchell style character. I'm a geezer. The public schoolboys have got nothing behind them. That's what you think.
Yeah.
Completely wrong. He comes in, he buys some weed, but what did you make about obviously, I mean, just the difference between these characters. You've got these sort of cockney, you've got the hard gangster, then you have these poshies.
That's the sixth group then.
Yeah, the sixth group,
You've got to remember that, Yeah, I mean, it's, again, you're like, who are these people, and what have they got to do with what I've just saw previously? And it's interesting. It's interesting to see these characters and what they do. You're getting another class of character as well. As you said, public schoolboys, as that character said, Plank.
He said something else, which
soft as shite. Something like that.
You can't repeat some of the other things he says. No, it's not very PC.
No, definitely
he's only 20 years old.
I'm sure we'll get into that as well, John. The dialogue and how. I wouldn't say it's aged. I think most honest people still use that kind of language. Maybe not in public places or anything like that, but it's a good introduction for this. It's a way in, John. Plank's the sort of way in between these two groups. Obviously, the ones that are growing the cannabis group, and obviously Dog's group as well. He's the link between them, and you'll find that there is characters dotted around this film that link groups together.
Yeah.
Like Nick the Bubble groups a couple of the he groups Rory's obviously and Ed's.
And then Rory's obviously linked to the posh cannabis sale as well.
So
it's amazing, Steve. It's all disconnected, but it all connects in. As you did say, the way he brings it all back together, it is mastery in filmmaking and in screenplay writing, in a sense. Obviously, at that point, we have the introduction of Gloria as well. She has a nice little cameo later on. Just the fact she is almost blending into these surroundings. Plank sits on her. He's like, Jesus Christ, didn't even know you were there.
Yeah.
That happens again later on in a really hilarious moment. Stephen, I mean, we were speaking about this. I think there's so much inspiration from Pulp Fiction in this movie.
Oh, definitely,
it's almost like a British Pulp Fiction. Just as we did say, all these different strands, all these different characters, all interconnecting back in. And then also that scene where she misses just
you
about
even get a dude with an afro, so there you are.
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, there's so much inspiration. That must have inspired just an age of directors at that time, growing up in the 80s and 90s. I don't know how old Guy Ritchie is. I think he would have been older than growing up in the 80s and 90s, though. I think he's probably 30 odd.
I think he's about 10 years older than me, John. So I was 21 when this film came out, so I'd say he was probably in his early 30s to mid-30s at this point.
Yeah, and Stephen, obviously, tangents as well. We get to see Dog, as you did say. He links with Plank. I think that's the first time we see him.
Yeah.
And they start setting up this plan to go and rob these posh schoolboy gits of their cannabis plants and money. We also get introductions to Rory as well. I think prior to this, we see him in the pub.
Yeah.
And I think it's Bacon asks him to turn the TV over, and he says no.
I love that scene, John, where you've got Danny John Jules, the barman, Cat from Red Dwarf, who's full on Cockney rhyming and slang. There's actually subtitles because it's that thick. You know, you talk about our accents being thick. This you need subtitles for. But you're right, you get that cameo. You see Rory in the pub. He's very subdued and he's very in the background. You're not really supposed to notice him. Other than that guy running out in flames, you don't really make the connection at this point until obviously they do that kind of little backstory which relates to that scene, you know.
Yeah, and Stephen, I think that typifies the tangents he takes in this movie. Not at all connected to the main plot, but it just establishes what this guy is. He may look a figure of fun with his sort of little tightly fitted suits and he's spinning around in the seat and whatnot. He's clearly a shorter guy, but he is not to be trifled with. He's a psychopath.
Yeah.
I think he turns his TV over, they turn it back, and then he goes and gets the fire extinguisher, takes it outside, orders a spirit, I think it's vodka, spits in the guy's face and sets him on fire, and he's kindly left the fire extinguisher outside. So it just shows you the mentality of these guys. Again, just continuing on from the first 20 odd minutes, the way he introduces guys in this movie, it's just masterful. It really is. Dark humour, I've said as well, Stephen, and the dialogue in general, it seems like comes out of every character's mouth. It's just gold.
Yep.
He just seems to be the master of this. I mean, every movie that he's involved in, even Aladdin to a degree had great dialogue from Will Smith and whatnot. To a lesser extent than these type of movies, which are from his noggin. He's not remastering a Disney's classic.
No.
Something about this guy's movies, though, the dialogue rips out. It's just fantastic. He's the master of this kind of film as well. I've said in my notes. I don't know of any other sort of British mobster movie. Maybe like Harry Brown has a slant on it.
Yeah.
I can't think of many other British mobster movies that come close to Guy Ritchie's mobster movies.
No.
And that's why we were so excited and happy to see he was getting back to that genre last year with The Gentleman. Or was it? It was last year, wasn't it? It was late last year.
Yeah.
What do you make about this? Also, you've seen this when you were relatively... I mean, I can't recall the first time I seen this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I was 21, 22 when I first saw this film.
I think you said you'd seen it 500 times.
I lost count. I was obsessed with the film, you know, in my younger days. And I must have wore that VHS tape out. Got my money's worth out of it. You know, just an excellent film. I'd never seen anything like this, John, before. I'm pretty sure there'd have been films made very similar to this back in the day, you know, before my time. But this was sort of my time to see this sort of genre. And what an introduction to this genre as well. Just everything about it, you know. I remember having conversations with my workmates, you know, the next day. You know, we'd lend the video out and stuff like that, and then everyone would watch it going, oh, did you see this scene? Or, you know, we'd obviously misquote a lot. We didn't have the internet to obviously reference, you know, it was all from memory, you know, and it was just such a enjoyable film. It was just such a quotable film, and you mentioned dark humour, John. The humour in this film is hilarious at times, you know. You've touched on it obviously with the Rory stuff, you know, but just throughout, you know.
Vinnie Jones, when he's first introduced, him and his son, battering the shit out of that guy, Big and Little Chris, with the sunbed. Yeah. And he's saying, watch your language in front of my son. I think he says Jesus, he says, and that includes blasphemy. Yeah. Then his son swears, and he's like, oi, you say that again and you'll wish you hadn't, or something along those lines. Dark humour, he's beat the shit out of this guy. Yeah. And he's so pedantic about swear words, but he's quite happy for his son to see him bludgeon a guy in a sunbed. So again, that's sort of dark humour as well. Stephen, I mean, the dialogue as well. I mean, I can quote just about everything in this movie that I've wrote down. I mean, you've got, they're armed. Armed, what do you mean they're armed with what? What do you think? Bad breath, a feather duster, guns you tit. You've got, it's all kosher like Christmas. But Jews don't celebrate Christmas, Tom. There's just so many great lines.
It's the accents as well, John, that makes it funnier, you know. Yeah, they know how to deliver the lines, you know.
They really do. And also we've got Rory as well. I think at one point, I can't recall why he gets introduced. I think it may be to trial the hashed cannabis. I've mixed the two together there. Hannibal Lecter to trial the cannabis, which is obviously his when it gets stole.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I'm not the type of cat that drinks sewer milk or something crap like that. But it's a great quote. I've butchered it. Stephen, at this point we've got Ed. He's in a pickle, as we did say. He's trying to find £500,000 in a week. He somehow stumbles across Plank and Dog speaking about these posh schoolboys.
Yeah, it's a funny one.
Also robbing them. Yes.
I knew that was going to happen.
And he's connecting mics up to the vent and whatnot in their spine, and this lays the sort of foundations of the second half of this movie and what's to come.
Just something that popped into my head was the way that Dog's gang find out about the microphones is hilarious. Just Plank's head gets through the wall. It's so funny.
And the quote before it as well, Stephen, I can't recall what the quote was, but it was absolutely fantastic. I think it says, I can't recall, it's basically saying, go out there and find it, you little shit. And he gives him a kick, and you're right, his head goes right through the vent. It's fantastic. Again, dark humour in this movie. But this it does, it sets up the foundation. We get Dog going off with obviously his gang at some point after this. It's laying in place. We've got the different groups come together. You've got Hatchet Harry, he's trying to get the guns, the Scousers have got them. Incidentally, we missed the scene with the Scousers. I think it's Gary gets shot in the head. I'm not putting that fishnet thing on my head. I've just paid £100 or £100 for a haircut. And he gets shot and it misses him, and his hair, he almost looks like Wolverine.
It's funny as well that the old guy in the stately home tries to take them on with the gun, and he just has to stand on him. He's no energy. I think he actually says that to him. He says, I can't remember the line.
Almost killed my friend or something like that.
Just you lay down there, old timer. Yeah.
Yes. But Stephen, it introduces all of the plan beautifully. We've got Ed and Bacon and Tom and whatnot. They're scampering around trying to make money. They're failing. I think Sting's giving him a slap at one point as well. What the hell are you doing? I keep calling him Sting. I don't know what his name is in this movie. It doesn't even matter. Tom, or Dog and Plank and whatnot, they're laying the foundations of this plan. They're going to, I think, ambush them when they come back. I can't recall exactly.
Yeah, that's basically it, yeah.
But it all comes in quickly anyway. They go off and steal the hash plants, and we get that scene with Gloria spraying the room with a machine gun. The posh guy gets his
it's the way he faints, John.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Pussy.
Yeah,
gets his foot blown off with the shotgun. And we've got the posh guy's name, the main guy, the tall
Winston. Yeah, it's Stephen McIntosh, I think his name is. I can't remember. He's got such a posh voice in this, though. I don't know if it is posh, John. I think in contrast to obviously the typical East End punters in this film, it comes across quite posh, doesn't it?
Well, they're schoolboys, Stephen, so they probably are. I mean, they're the Tonian type, aren't they? Really? Posh boys that think they're hard, but they're not really, when thrust into this mucky world. Although hats off to them for mixing it up with a psycho like Rory, I have to say.
Yeah.
But obviously he's shooting them with an air gun, and it's pellets, and you've got Plank screaming the place down. You've got this guy bringing in the machine gun. I think Dog says to him, what the hell is that? It's a Ben gun, I think he says, or something. Couldn't you have brought something a little bit more economical? Again, you've got great dialogue. You've got humour getting injected in at the right moments. It's the way the guy goes for him, though. One of the other posh boys goes, and I think he slashes one of the guy's arms. And he just looks at him disdainfully. Dog takes the knife and he says, I'm going to take pleasure in this, or something along those lines. Then he becomes distracted by the sheer scale of this sort of cannabis farming and the money it's involved. Rob Brydon has obviously a cameo at this moment as a traffic warden. I don't know what your thoughts. Did you know who Rob Brydon was at this point?
I didn't, John. No. It wasn't until I went back years later. I think it might have been after the first time I saw Rob Brydon was probably in series 2 of I'm Alan Partridge. He was I think it was the last episode. That was my first introduction to him. So I didn't realise it then. So it was somewhere about the sort of mid-2000s when I went back to watch Lock, Stock, I realised that's Rob Brydon. I can't believe it.
Stephen, I didn't know he was in the movie either. When I've initially watched it, but when I do watch it back now, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Rob Brydon is in this movie, and he plays a little wormy shit. He just gets slapped down. I think the guy basically says, come round here and have a look. He says it's half empty. Gives him a slap and he says now it's full, and obviously he gets a tanking from the two groups. He gets a tanking off a Dog and his gang, and then he gets a tanking off a Bacon. Bloody hate traffic wardens or something. There's another great line. It's like, we've got a F-ton of cannabis, we've got money, and we've got a traffic warden. It's just the dialogue. I keep going back to it, but this is what makes this movie for me, Stephen. Not just the performances, but the dialogue is amazing. That is what makes this movie such a modern day classic and memorable in my mind. You're right, the Cockney delivering the actual dialogue itself. But Stephen, obviously we get the moment where Eddie's group do intercept the cash and they're trying to appear hard, and I think there's back and forth prior to that as well with Soap. He's whipping out knives and machetes. I think Bacon's saying, I don't know what disturbs me more, your past or your job.
Yeah.
And again, you're just seeing them try to act hard. They sort of steal the cash. Dog saying, I'll find you.
Yeah.
And you've got all of this going on. They're going away. They think they've saved the day. They've saved their bacon. It's revealed, I think, that Nick goes and meets with Rory.
Yeah.
And he's trying to sell him his own cannabis. And he's like, yeah, this is great. I'll give you half the money. And then that reveal, what did you make of that reveal when you seen it the first time, Stephen? That it is in fact Rory's pants that have been stolen. Again, they do something similar with this in The Gentleman with Colin Farrell and the hash plants. It connects the characters in some way.
Yeah.
What did you make of that reveal that was actually Rory, and just how that built up to the finale? It was like the Alamo.
That's exactly how the Carnage starts, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, I think Rory's a smart guy. He knows that Nick the Greek, Nick the Bubble, whatever you want to call him, is not that brave a person to pull that kind of stunt on a guy like Rory. And Rory says this in so many words, you know, but he wants to get to the bottom of it. He wants to know who this group is. I think Nick basically says it's a crowd of 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
So by the time Rory's guys get down to, you know, that house, it's Dog's team that's there, and he thinks it's the same guys that he's referring to. So,
and they're waiting on Ed and that coming back, Tom and Bacon.
Yeah.
And you've got Plank under the sofa. And he's like, what the F is going on when all of Rory's men come in? It's amazing, man.
It is. Yeah,
and
Carnage.
also, you mentioned that actually Nick putting the glass through the table.
Yeah.
That wasn't part of the actual movie.
That's
He did that.
Yeah, that was a real thing, yeah.
And the way they implemented the next scene in, where he's putting it through the table and he's cringing because he knows there's no glass on the table. That's amazing, little bits of ad-libbing, taking the story and just going with it.
Yeah.
On the fly, fantastic. Stephen, what did you make about the soundtrack in this movie? That's the next thing I've been wanting to speak about.
John, I was a big fan of Ocean Colour Scene back in the day. Stone Roses, obviously.
Fantastic.
I think everybody was, you know, around about my age, but Ocean Colour Scene kind of came onto the scene in the UK in the mid-1990s to use their tunes, especially the opening track, was genius, you know. I still like listening to their music as well. You know, even just the singles, you know, they're so different, you know, they were, you know, everyone had a different sort of feel to it and different sound. But it's a great soundtrack. James Brown's in there as well, which is a bit random, but it kind of suits the sort of mood of the film at that point as well.
There's a great reggae number at some point as well with a woman singing when the posh guys are walking through the hash plants the first time they're revealed. Absolutely stupendous soundtrack, Stephen. It just frames the 90s perfectly. It's mostly 90s bands that are in there, 80s and 90s. And also, as you did say, Stephen, randomly we have James Brown in there as well as a sort of 60s vibe, but he says, again, the songs work perfectly. When you actually look at the names, I've got the actual thing in front of me now. You've got the Bosch, James Brown, you've got Payback.
Yeah.
That Payback, that frames the sort of end sequence where Rory's men are going in to deal with it, and they're all coming together. We've got Vinnie Jones's Big Chris and Little Chris, they're coming in. It seems the Scousers, I think, are following them, trying to find the guns. It's just all Inception-esque. I mean, I say that, I think, at some point in my notes. There's Inception-esque shit going on in here. You've got Harry telling the Scousers to get the guns, and then you've got Chris going in and taking the guns, then the Scousers are going for Harry or Chris, and that takes them on a collision course with Harry, and it's just this whole array of different things going on. But what a soundtrack it was, Stephen. The likes of the Castaways, you've got the Stooges and whatnot. Stooges,
John, that was the song, I Want to Be Your Dog, I think it was. It was played during the scene after the card game. It's got that kind of mad, crazy guitar thing going on.
I want to be your dog, And obviously, at this point, we've got the finale, as I did say, and the build up to it. We've got this sort of... They robbed I keep saying cannabis. What is wrong with me tonight, man? Honestly, I need to go and start again, Stephen. I'm having a mare. They go and rob the cannabis. We've got, I think Ed's team go out and celebrate. They're unaware that what's happening back in the flat. They have rumbled them. They're waiting and they're lying in wait for Ed and Bacon and whatnot to come back. And then Rory's men turn up. And as I did say, Stephen, it's almost like Pulp Fiction. The way it all comes back together. It's about 40 different threads. It's all Inception-esque. It all blends together absolutely beautifully. It could be one of the best finales to a movie that I've ever seen. Just in terms of the mastery of introducing the characters, introducing the story, all the threads. It feels as though it's got no right connecting whatsoever, and the way he just brings it all back together in this sort of dinky little shithole flat in the East End of London where there's just absolute carnage, blood and guts.
And our four guys, our four main guys, live to tell the tale, which is unbelievable when you think about the bodies that are in this film, the situation that each of them find themselves in, and who they're involved in as well. Come together at the end, with obviously Rory's guys, Dog's gang, and for Tom, Soap, Eddie, and Bacon to come out of this, without a scratch, it was unbelievable. The real winner in this film is actually Chris. He's lost obviously the man that pays his wages.
Yes.
What
a car he ends up with,
and that bag of money as well. But it's kind of justice served, isn't it? To an extent, you didn't really want to see the happy ending, of the four main guys, getting the money.
No.
And it'd be too sugar-coated, I think the way it was handled with Chris ending up with the loot, was fantastic. But he did a good thing, he left them the guns. I think he left them the brochure, wasn't it? He left
put it in the bag,
the empty bag with the brochure, It was a nice little touch. It showed that he knew those guns were worth something, and he didn't want to see the four lads being out of pocket any more than they already were.
Stephen, just come back before we actually get into that sort of cliffhanger ending, because it's masterful as well. That's
I kind of hung back there, John, because I know you want to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, the actual line from Chris when he walks into this chaos, and I think it's Dog jumping out the back. He thinks he's won a watch. He's disappearing from the madness. And he just runs right into Chris, the worst guy you could run into, big 6'3", whatever.
It's funny because at this point, I do consider Dog to be a right hard nut. He is. He's got no fear. But then when he's up against Vinnie Jones,
he looks like an absolute pussy. He just looks like a little guy.
Yeah.
He says, "You got something there for me, have you? Come on, chop chop." And it's just the way that he slaps him about. I think he does. He slaps him, doesn't he? He gives him a slap, and then he gets run over as well.
I think he. Does he not rattle his head into the car door?
That's at the very end, because he comes after him. And I think he threatens his boy when he comes out of Harry's.
Right,
he's got the money. And I think this again leads him into Tom and Ed and whatnot. They're waiting outside Harry's. I think they go up to talk about the guns or something like that. They realise, I can't recall, I may be getting it all mixed up, but he smashes into the car anyway. And then obviously he gets him out. I've never been so disrespected in all my life, and he's battered in the door off that dog's head.
It's the only time you really see Chris being that vicious in the whole film. He is a hard nut in it, obviously. He's
respectful.
He's more or less a sort of like a bounty hunter, really. He's a henchman. And I don't know if it's just because he's in the presence of his son for most of the film. I'm not sure. And he's kind of. You can see he's brewing. It's just underneath. That his rage is there, but he just lets rip at this scene. I wouldn't like to have been Dog at this point.
No. Stephen, it put me in mind of a sort of bottom episode, just the violence.
Yeah.
That was something I was going to get into though. Before we talk about that final cliffhanger, this movie was an 18. I don't think in hindsight it's all that violent. There is some violence.
I think, John, the content of the film.
I think it's more probably the swearing.
The drugs stuff as well.
Yeah.
The swearing and probably, the drug-related sort of storyline to this, and obviously firearms is involved. Yeah. They're not used a lot in the film. No. Probably at the end with Rory's gang.
Steve, we missed the dog scene with the goddamn golf club as well. That
was his introduction, But it really just was a brief scene to introduce how nuts this guy is, But
a little bit of violence, but not much.
No, there wasn't, and I think they actually cut the scene before they did that guy in, so there wasn't any gore or anything like that.
It hits the guy in the head with the golf club.
You've got to remember, 1998, the ratings of certificates of the age guidelines were a lot different then. We talked about it when we were doing, I think, Terminator 2. That wouldn't be a 15 now. It'd probably be a PG-13 or something like that now.
Stephen, that could be a Disney movie these days. But Stephen, the ambiguous Savsay's cliffhanger ending. I love these type of endings in movies. That's why I love Christopher Nolan movies. Yeah. He leaves it hanging. That's why a lot of people hate it.
Yeah, a lot of people like The Italian Job.
Yeah, it's fantastic. That's exactly what it reminded me of, Stephen. That a bit of Inception. And maybe something else. It leaves you thinking after the movie. I like a movie that gets me thinking, and you can make up your own ending for it. Maybe Shawshank as well. What the hell happened with Fred and Dufresne after that? Where did they go? Did they fall into each other's hands and become lovers, or did they just want to kill each other? Who knows? It could have went either way with those two. Who knows? Thick as thieves you are, as obviously Warden Norton says.
Yeah.
But I love movies like this, Stephen, where the ending is left, and just the actual shot, them frantic, they realise that they've screwed up. They've told Tom to get rid of these guns.
Try to phone him at the same time. Stupid thing.
That's the only thing it kind of aged. Well, there's a lot of things age at the TVs and whatnot, but when you see the actual phones, and it's like Nokia's and they're huge, that kind of ages it. Not that I care about that crap, I don't. But that's just the shot, the silhouette of him on this bridge, hanging over. I think he's clutching onto a pole. He's got the guns in one hand, he's got the phone in his mouth, and they're ringing him. I think it's Statham gets through to him, and he's like, it's ringing, shut up.
Yeah.
Just what a shot, the music, everything about it. Tom dangling there. Did he ever get the money? Or did they ever get the guns and the money for the guns?
John, I would like to think they did, just to get the money back, and just move on from this whole experience, They're good guys deep down, they're just they're trying to get ahead in life, but they're going the wrong way about it, and they've picked the wrong people to sort of deal with and mess with, So I'd like to think that was a little bit of money back in their pocket for what they lost. I think it was 25 grand each or something like that, as I recall.
It was about 250 to 300,000
pounds. It would have been a lot more then,
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I think when they looked at the brochure,
75,000 each or something. Then I can't remember, John.
It was a hellacious amount of money for sure. Stephen, again, we're missing things, but it's easy to do in a movie as frenetic as this. But also Harry, that scene of him dying and what he's surrounded with, that was just perfect. Yeah. A guy that bludgeoned somebody with a black one, that was magnificent. To see him dying in a sea of that. Yeah. But yeah, Stephen, you're right about the ending. It's just, I hope they did get it. Also, you can make it up. Unless Guy Ritchie comes out and says definitively this is what happened to this guy and what happened to the guns. I'd like to think he didn't fault his death, or the guns didn't slip.
Never crossed my mind.
No,
it has now.
You could have failed with the phone and the actual guns, but I think they got it. I think it's again like the Italian Job. I think Michael Caine would have been canny enough to get that money back and get them all off that bus safely.
Well, that's the beauty of it, John. We'll never know.
You'll never know. And Stephen, that is why I like movies like that. It leaves you thinking. It lets the audience decide. Some would say it's lazy storytelling. I completely disagree. Stephen, standout performances and characters in this movie. This is going to be an incredibly tough one. I gave this good thought, John.
And I think the most obvious one people are going to say is Vinnie Jones. I don't think it's very fair. I'm not saying Vinnie Jones had a bad performance in this film. He certainly didn't. He was able to hold his own against accomplished actors. Yeah. But a lot of people will say Vinnie Jones because of his footballing background and saying that he did a good job for being a footballer or an ex-footballer. I thought Vinnie Jones was excellent in this film, but for me, it's Jason Fleming. Yeah. He kind of carried the film for me. A lot of people might think it was Nick Moran's Ed. For me, it was Jason Fleming. I think just his lines were the funniest. He was the sort of connection between most of the groups, certainly with Nick the Bubble and obviously, his own friends. And he's just got a way about him as well. He took a pounding off his friends about his weight and stuff.
You're fat, and yet you're not, but you look like you should be.
Dexter Fletcher surprised me as well. I knew Dexter Fletcher. I didn't personally know him. I knew him in a television series that was called The Press Gang, which was on, I think it might have been ITV. It was on around about sort of children's television time, around about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and he played an American with a horrendous American accent. But it was something likeable about the guy. This guy's obviously, he's went on and become a major director now, and Sunshine Leaf, Bohemian Rhapsody, taking over from him.
Even know he was a director.
You didn't realise, Dexter Fletcher, it's not like his name's John Smith, John. It's Dexter Fletcher. It's quite an unusual name. But I don't know, I was surprised when you were surprised about that, because you just got to look at him,
You shouldn't be surprised me.
He's greyer now, but it's clearly him,
Yeah, I knew
he's got such a distinctive look about him.
Yeah, I knew his face rang a bell.
But Soap for me had some of the funniest lines in the film, and surprising as well how dark he was,
Yeah.
But yeah, for me it was Jason Fleming.
Stephen, I'd agree. I don't know what it is. There's just something about the guy. He's cool as hell. It's just, again, his lines are amazing. His way about him as well. I think it was him that said something about the Christmas, but they don't celebrate Christmas, the Jews. It's just, he's fantastic. It is a really strong performance from everyone. It's a really good ensemble performance. As I did say at the start of the review, one of the things that makes this movie so special is the fact that you do have Guy Ritchie bringing all of these unlikely, strange bedfellows together and just making it work.
Yeah.
Because they're just all completely different characters. You've got Stephen McIntosh, Winston, the posh guy. He's just worlds apart from a Jason Fleming.
Vass Blackwood as well was very good, as Rory Breaker.
Yeah, he was amazing,
For the short time he was in the film, if you actually look at it, he probably gets about 5 minutes.
Same with Vinnie Jones.
Yeah.
5 minutes in the movie, but they just make lasting impacts because they're big characters.
First time I saw Vass Blackwood was in an episode of the television series, the comedy series Only Fools and Horses.
You tell me,
The Shadow. If anyone's a fan of Only Fools and Horses, they'll know what I'm talking about. But he's such a funny guy, and in this he is playing the hard nut. He's playing a gangster. It's not to be trifled with, but there's that underlining of dark humour in there from this character. And
spinning around in the chair.
Yeah.
Just the meticulousness from the guy. He's too high to come off the chair and touch the ground, so he spins it around, and it's perfect. It just times perfectly with him coming off. He was great. Nick Moran was brilliant, or Nick Moran was great as well.
Yeah.
There's so many great performances in there, but it's hard to pick a favourite. But in the end, I would agree, Jason Fleming is the one for me. Stephen, final thoughts on this movie, the film's legacy, where it ranks for you in Guy Ritchie's filmography. For me, it's number one.
That is, John.
It's number one.
He's never made a better film than this. Nothing's been topped. I liked The Gentleman. I thought it was a fantastic film. I enjoyed it. We did the review for it. But there's something about this film that's just not been matched yet. I like Snatch as well. But I found that this was the thing, John. A lot of people think he should go back and do more of these films. Well, he did do that in 2000 or whenever Snatch came out, and people just thought he's just done another Lock, Stock, 2 Smoking Barrels, so he couldn't really win. So I can understand why he went off in different directions. But saying that, he's hardly made a bad film.
No.
But this film is right up there for me.
Even the Disney remake, Stephen Aladdin, that is probably the best remake of last year. It was a really well shot, well acted movie. It had a different vibe to it. It was also a shot-for-shot remake in a sense, but there was something different about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a shot-for-shot remake. They changed origin stories and changed the genie story and whatnot. I don't know why I'm talking about Aladdin. It doesn't matter. For me, Lock, Stock, 2 Smoking Barrels is without a shadow of a doubt his best movie. Its legacy, it's one of the greatest British mobster movies ever made. And again, it's for a whole array of reasons, but for me, it's the dialogue, the characters are larger than life. They just pop off the screen. They are bigger than the actual story. The story is incredibly simple when you think about it. Just a guy getting caught in the mobster underworld. He loses a bet. He has to get it back in a week. He essentially robs another group of mobsters to get cannabis plants, not cannabis plants. And then it all comes together, all in the space of a week. It's a very linear, simple story with a myriad of different threads and groups all working together frantically. But for me, they transcend the actual story, the characters, the dialogue, and that's what makes it so everlasting, the enjoyability of it, watching it, as you did. So you've seen it hundreds of times probably over the years. I've not seen it as much as that, but I do love this movie.
John, he was 30 when he did this film, 1968.
A year younger than me.
And do you know something else? Forget he did Sherlock Holmes as well.
The Robert Downey and the Jude Law ones. They're fantastic movies as well. Stephen, really enjoyed those, and again, really well shot. You've got, what the hell's that scene that Robert Downey always says? Discombobulate. And he's hitting the guy, discombobulate. It's funny, it's slowed down, it's amazingly shot. Again, the guy knows what he's doing. Ritchie knows what he's doing.
Tim Morris Jones was the cinematographer, John.
Yes.
He worked on the likes of The Women in Black, Kick-Ass.
Yes.
Film called Revolver as well. But Bastille Day as well. I know that one. But
Bastille Day was great. That was the one with Mark Wahlberg.
It was
Kevin Bacon. Was that the other one?
It was Idris Elba.
He was a terrorist. I remember that. Oh, he was the actual CIA agent hunting the terrorist, I should say. Yeah, that was a good movie as well. I think we spoke about that, maybe even reviewed it at some point.
Yep.
Composer, there was 2 composers on this movie. Stephen finally ramped up. John Murphy, he worked in likes of Sunshine on just Sunshine.
Sunshine and Leith, no.
Was it Sunshine and Leith? No. X-Men Days of Future Past. 28 weeks later.
It's that whole Matthew Vaughn connection again, isn't it?
Yeah, you say that, Stephen. It's like 6 degrees of separation, really, with all these guys. Jonathan Ross's wife's involved somewhere in there as well.
Dexter Fletcher,
Very, very strange sort of tangled web
Jason
of connections.
Fleming as well, they're all good friends, aren't they?
Well, that's what makes magic happen, Stephen. You had the Rat Pack, you had the Adam Sandler pack, you had the other pack.
Brat Pack as
the
well.
Brat Pack. So you've got all these packs. Every era seems to have it, and they all make magic happen in one way or the other in a different genre. But look, I am done Speaking about the movie, it saddens me. I feel like I could have spoken, did a lot better in reviewing this movie. I feel I've had a bit of a mare saying Hannibus and whatnot and forgetting about the way
You
to film.
tend to find that, John, with films that you really enjoy, they're harder to speak about because you really want to do them justice, how you feel about
Try
them.
too hard,
You
yes.
know, so, been there.
Yes, sadly, though, I can't take it back. This is a review. She's just going to have to settle for it. What did you guys make about the review of Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, though? Have you ever seen it? If you have seen it, what's your thoughts on Guy Ritchie? Where do you rank this in his filmography? What's your thoughts on the movie in general? What's your standout performance? If you've got anything to say at all, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And if you do, then you'll see us again on Monday for our review of Shutter Island.